My name's Sarah Davies. I work with Active Knots and lead on the Walk Knots work in Nottingham City and County. And our ambition is all about inspiring, supporting and enabling residents and communities to walk and wheel in their everyday lives. So wheeling is using a wheeled device to move around, like a mobility scooter or a wheelchair or a pushchair. And everyday lives is just what it is all about. Basically, we are trying to enable, support people who are inactive at the moment to build up the physical and mental confidence to move around their own homes, to move around their neighbourhoods, to go to the shops, to walk wheel to the green space, to walk wheel to school, to work while they're at work. We're not necessarily advocating for people to go on 10-mile hikes. What we're trying to do is understand what helps and hinders people from doing this, and then we work with organisations to remove the barriers and increase the enablers. So working with planning and transport and highways and road safety team in terms of putting in the right infrastructure, so the benches, the footpaths that are joined up and wide enough and well lit, the safe road crossings. We're working with health and social care in terms of putting over the supportive messages to enable their patients to walk and wheel and realise that it's beneficial to their health, working with police in terms of safety, working with early years and education in terms of helping to integrate walking wheeling into the school day, but also encouraging active travel to schools. And then we're working with community and voluntary groups to enable integrate walking wheeling into what they're doing. Very often, if people aren't active at the moment, the first step is not necessarily going on a walk, but it might be going to a friendship group or a knitting group or a singing group, and then it's trying to integrate a little bit of walking into and wheeling into what we're doing there. May is National Walking Month, and we thought this would be a brilliant opportunity to pull all of this together and to basically promote and celebrate all the wonderful things that are happening walking and wheeling wise, whether it's infrastructure or safety opportunities or messaging throughout the whole of May. And then also encouraging residents and organisations to integrate walking wheeling into the strategies, policies, practices, daily lives, trying something new. And then through all of this, gaining a really good understanding of what helps, what hinders those organisations in supporting people, what helps, what hinders the residents in walking and wheeling. So if we can just show you a brief montage of what happened during May. So as you can see, it was an absolutely brilliant month. It started off with Mayor Claire's last leg of her walking loop around the East Midlands. And then just a smidgen after the end of May, we had the installation of the new pedestrian cycling waterside bridge over the River Trent. And in between, there was a multitude of activities. We had a festival programme which had 91 special activities on that. And that kind of like ranged from bat walks and bird watching walks to Nordic quests. We had mental health wellbeing walks. We had litter picking walks, forest bathing, foraging, all sorts of different things. Then we also had the 52 regular walks that happen week in, week out throughout the year. So the Nordic walking that happens every week. We have walks led by the Jolly Walkers, by Rushcliffe Move and Mingle. Then we have the Facebook walking groups. So these are walking groups that have sprung up on Facebook. Mansfield Walk and Talk, These Girls Walk, Sunday Walk Club, Mums on the Move. We've now got Dads on the Move. Then we had 2 challenges. So the Achieve Well team in the City Council Public Health team did a challenge for Nottingham schools called Robin Walks Knots. And then the Walk Wheel Cycle Trust partnered with the City Transport team for the Big Nottingham Travel Challenge. So that was encouraging people living and working in Nottingham to leave their cars at home during May and to walk, wheel, cycle, use public transport for any of their journeys. And then we had the Walk Knots bingo cards, which were kind of like tailored for different age groups, so that they weren't labelled as such, with lots of different activities that people can do. So like a teddy toddle, take your favourite toy for a toddle, or can you walk bench to bench? Can you go geocaching? Can you go litter picking? And then we had the Walk Knots dog, which is featured on there with the school crossing patrol, little cuddly toy who just went everywhere. And Catherine from British Nordic Walking, their team completely embraced the dog, and they made little Nordic walking outfits for him. And on top of this festival programme, we also had a myriad of walking and wheeling activities that were taking place in community venues. So buggy walks from the family hubs and little obstacle courses. We had walks going from surgeries. We had walking displays in pharmacies. We had little potters going out from the friendship groups. We had step challenges in leisure centres and new wellbeing walks starting from them. We had book displays in the library, National Year of Reading, and also book trails going from them. We had like little treasure hunts going out in housing schemes just around the gardens. We had daycare centres getting involved, so supporting adults with learning disabilities and coming out for a little walk around the local nature reserve or park. A lot of walks going from voluntary groups. At work, there were a lot of people that were actually having walking meetings, and again, a lot of step challenges that were taking place. So we had the festival programme, we had all of those activities taking place, and then we also were celebrating the new infrastructure that took place, that was installed during that month. The new benches, the footpaths, the bridges, the trails, a new self-guided walking route all along River Lean. There was new signage, Men in Sheds put up a new sign on the Robin Hood Way. We had a pop-up mobility hub in Nottingham. We subsidised some walk leader training. We had 32 new walk leaders that were trained up in April and May. And then we developed some more Walking for Dementia flyers in Nottingham, which we were able to distribute through Dementia Action Week. And not only did we that, but we also had active neighbourhood scans where we went out with groups of residents to find out how walkable and wheelable their local areas were. So we went with young families in Eastwood. We went out with teenagers and youth services and police in Newark. And then right on the border of Carlton and Sneinton, we went out with the parishioners of St Cyprian's Church. They're wanting to be a demonstrator church for net zero carbon, so they're looking at the structure of their premises on how they can do that, but again also wanting to encourage their parishioners to stay at home, not stay at home, leave their car at home and walk to the warm space. So we went out with their parishioners and walked over the 65 streets of their parish, learning what helps and hinders them from moving around by walking and wheeling. And then we had the Active Travel to School Test and Learn project, which was working with a school in Carlton to learn about how their parents, staff, children get to and from school and why and what they get out of that, and trying to encourage them to walk and wheel. So what we're going to do is just hear from some of the organisations that got involved in this festival. First of all, Terry with the Active Travel to School, then Jess and Marjana from the Bassett Law Family Friendship Partnership, and really talking about the partnership working, helping people to walk and wheel, and then Diane and Carol from ATTFE talking about walking and wheeling in a way that works from you from a safe space with a trusted leader. So first of all, if we pass you over to Terry Elliott, Gedling School Games Organiser.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So can I just move on from this first slide? Because while I'm talking to start with, I just want to bring up some of the stats and the benefits and facts. Sarah came to me and said, oh, wouldn't it be nice if more people could walk to school? And at the beginning of actually having those conversations, my interest was very much about pushing the Active 60 agenda and kind of saying, yeah, okay, this is a nice idea. It makes sense to do. What's in it for me? Interestingly, when putting all the kind of paperwork together to try and send to schools to get schools on board, I found the facts really interesting. And the thing that sticks with me the most is the fact at the bottom of here that says, children who walk, cycle and scooter from an early age have better road sense and improved ability to travel independently. And that has really stuck with me throughout this entire project. And it is the real reason that I keep coming back to it. And when I speak to schools now, I really push the idea, and with parents, that actually this is really important, not just for our physical activity, but actually for the future of our children. Okay, so on average, about 51% of the junior school population actually travels by foot to school. We want that to be a higher percentage. We understand that one of the major issues is about road safety. So when we were putting together our project, we had all of those things in mind. Okay, so just want to go through really quickly the purpose of the project, which was to use active travel as a tool to improve road safety, health and learning. Our partners on the project obviously are Sarah from Whatnot, who is basically the lead on the project and the idea person. As I said, I then got involved as the school games organizer, wanting to push the agenda with schools. We had Via, who is the road safety team, and the school that we worked with was Standhill Infants. Now, interestingly, when it came to approaching the school, the only reason that Standhill actually got on board with us was when Sarah said to them, this is not about active travel, but what we can do for you is we can help you meet your carbon footprint targets. So they have a carbon action plan, and it's about actually, we want to help you meet those particular targets. And suddenly the school that wasn't answering calls then got involved with us. Okay, so what I want to do while I've got everybody on the meeting is just really quickly go through the things that we did in this project. And it was a 3-phase project that we delivered. And the first phase was all about data collection. We worked with the school, we did a site audit, so we had a look at what the school facilities were and also the roads around the school. We then did a road safety audit. We spent some time outside of the school, after school, kind of monitoring the traffic and how people were moving. We spoke to parents, and as you can see, we spoke to the school crossing patrol as well, and that gave us quite a lot of interesting information. The final thing that we did, and the most important thing, was a travel audit, and we did 3 travel audits. One was a survey that we sent to parents, and the take up on that wasn't brilliant, but the information that we gained was really useful. We sent a similar survey to teachers. Again, the take up wasn't brilliant, but it was quite useful to get that information. And Sarah and I went into the school and we did active travel surveys with the children. One of the reasons we wanted to do active surveying was because we felt it was really important. If we're going and we're promoting an active agenda, we really need to kind of embed that into everything that we're doing. So we created a series of questions that could be answered in an active way. So move into this location if this is the answer to the question. Catch the ball before providing me the answer to the question. The data took quite a while to collect, and mostly it took a slightly longer to analyse. It was really, really useful to actually find out what the children thought and what the parents thought. And we found that one of the biggest challenges with walking to school from a parent's perspective is time. I don't have time to do this, was their big thing. We don't have time, we're in a rush, it's not convenient. The children also highlighted that when it rains, nobody walks. We can't possibly go out in the rain, that's not something that we do, which was really interesting. And we talked to the children about what do you see on your journey to school? So if we're promoting the journeys to school, if we're looking at different methods, what do you see? And the biggest factor that we found here was the enjoyment from walking to school comes from spending time with parents, it comes from scooting and traveling fast. But what they see on their journeys, those children that are traveling by foot are seeing flowers, they're seeing people, they're having conversations, they're seeing a blue sky. The people that are traveling by car, they're seeing buildings, they're seeing pavements. So their outlook is completely different. Those children are arriving at school having already had conversations and interactions, having discussed with their friends their plans. And that's really, really important, that we kind of acknowledge the difference in how it makes us feel when we travel actively. Okay, so the second phase of our project was the road safety education phase. We brought in VIA, which is the road safety team, to do a road safety workshop with every member of the school. So in total, you're looking at 120 children. We did a 15-minute session with the early years setting and 30 minutes with every other class. That means that by the end, when we wanted those children to go out, we'd basically given them the tools to do it in a safe manner. And that's really important, because the areas around schools are perceived to be quite dangerous. Off the back of the road safety, we wanted the children to engage with their families, and so I created a poster competition. It was a really simple concept of, you spend time inside school or outside of school and you design a poster, and then we're going to take those posters and we're going to put the posters up in the local environment. So we got the children to design the posters. I collected the posters from school. I then went out to the local community and put those posters up. And we created 11 different posters that were then turned into A3 posters, and they contained information and encouragement for children to be active during Walk to School week. As you can see from the picture on the slide, those pictures and those posters were put up around the school as well as around the neighbourhood. The final thing that we did, so phase 3 with our project, was about promoting active travel, and everything that we did was designed to build up to Walk to School week. So on the 18th of May, we kind of built our project with the intention of having this as our final showcase event and our week. One of the things that we did was we provided the pack to schools. So it had all of the Walk Knots Festival resources, it had the bingo cards, and we also created tracker activity things so that we could track children's participation. There were certificates, there were stickers that were being given out, and there was a letter that went to parents explaining everything that we did. So as you can see, impact and outcomes wise, the initial impact is 120 children now have road safety training that they didn't have at the start of this project. When you look at the actual data that was collected, you can see there are some positives and there are some negatives. So if we looked at class 1, when we went in and we did our surveys, it turned out that 80% of those children said that they'd walked to school that day. Now, interestingly, when asked about why they were walking, most of those children said they didn't have cars, which, when we then go back and do our surveying during Walk to School week, does raise the question, if these children don't physically own a car, how did so many more of them manage to travel by car during that particular week? And that's something we probably need to go back and investigate, because we don't have that answer. So we have the data, but we didn't go back in afterwards and ask some more questions, and that's probably something that I need to do. The really positives are, if you think back to when I brought up that first slide, one of the things that I spoke about was that 51% of children walk to school. But when we look at this particular score, there are so many more days when the numbers are above 51. So we've got 57 reoccurring, we've got a 67. Class 4 got to the point where 87% of their children were travelling in an active way during the week where we were pushing that. That's a massive improvement, and it's something that actually we can be really proud of from a project perspective, that you kind of think, yeah, are we making a difference? Well, if we've gone from 58% of people participating in something to 83 and 87%, yes, the work that we have done has made a difference. Now, when we look at the bigger outcomes, all of the data that we collected from the school was put together in a project report, and we did give that to the school, and we said, okay, this is the information that you've got, and you can do with that as you want to. The school was able to tick off a number of things from their climate action plan, which has been really useful to them. And we have created that Walk to School pack. Now, the pack has been amazing because we've been able to take the things that we've done from this project and pass that information to 32 schools within the area. So we've created resources for one school, but actually we've distributed those to 32 schools. And I know from visiting those schools since then that actually some of those schools are either taking the resources that we had or developing their own resources off the back of it. I've been speaking to Sarah recently about the learning from the project, the who, the what, the where and the when and the how. And we know going forward that if we wanted to do a similar project again, How to target the score? Well, we don't need to talk about being physically active, but we do need to talk about carbon action plans. How do we get people to be more active? Well, the school is telling us that certificates of rewards would have been a really useful thing because that's what people engage with. They really love the bingo cards. When we need to do it on dry days, there's absolutely no reason for us to do this on a rainy day. And we know from the data that we collected, and it's really obvious that when it rains, people choose to get in their cars. So we need to pick the sunny times. How? We probably want to be promoting scooting because the area that we worked in, it was so hilly. There was no possible way that we were going to get a massive take up on biking. And therefore, for me, if I was going to go back to that school and say, what is our learning from this? How do we engage more people? We need to promote scooting. Scooting has a massive benefit because what we can do is we can get in our cars to do part of the journey, and then the children can scoot the rest of the way. That allows us to park further away, and it means we can just do something a little bit better. We have got some ripple effects as well from this particular project, and I'm hoping that Sarah will be able to dip back into that for me in a minute, because I think she knows a little bit more about that than I do. So from a next step perspective, we're talking about Standhill infants. As I said, we need to go back to the school. We need to check in on long-term behaviour change. The next steps for us would be to revise and review the project that we did, make some changes, and then make sure that they're fit for purpose for distribution in the future. Share our learning, talk about our motivations, how we engage the parents, the weather, and also engage the wider audience. So the sharing of the project obviously starts here today. The next things that I'm going to do is I'm going to be working with the schools in my area to say, how do we promote this? And specifically in the secondary schools, how do we take the learning that we've got, the education that we provided, and how do we share that with our secondary schools? Okay, very sorry, that was very fast, and I am going to pass back to Sarah.
Thank you so much for your time on this, Terry.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? It was really lovely. It was really lovely seeing the children being involved, and then, you know, since then we've had another school that was talking about their Walk Will Win active travel to school project that they're doing, where every week they're encouraging their children to travel actively to school, and then they have like a little presentation on the Friday along with their attendance certificate, presenting a little active travel to school certificate as well. And also hearing from other schools in the city and county about them wanting to be involved in this. Wendy, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, more a question and comment. I think Terry's gone, hasn't she? So unfortunately she won't hear this, but just think for me, the big kind of learning and takeaway there was that schools engage more when thinking about their climate action plans, because that's something they do now and they, you know, are held account for. So I think that's kind of, I mean, trying to encourage schools to, you know, get children walking to school more for years and years. To hear that the climate action plan was kind of the mover there was really, really kind of, thank you, I'll take that away.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that really worked was that all the materials were there. So it was dead easy for the school to engage, because basically, you know, Terry had drafted all the letters that they could send out. She'd done all the surveys. She'd done all the, you know, the information on the poster competition or what have you. So it was just, you know, the road safety education team went in and delivered their workshop. We went in and delivered the interactive workshop. They didn't really have to do anything other than say, please come in and engage with us. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Right. Okay, we shall move swiftly on now to Jess Hardwick and Marjana Singh from Bassett Law Community Voluntary Services, who are going to talk about the wonderful partnership working that has been happening in Bassett Law to support people who really need support in a way that works for them. Over to you, Marjana and Jess.
Hi there. So me and Marja are going to tag team this a little bit. So we'll not keep you too long. But yeah, a lovely project that we've been working on over the last 2 years altogether. But it's really taken off since January this year. So we are the Bassett Law Friends of Family Hub Collaborative. So Manton is a key area for us in Bassett Law. It is a really highly deprived area with high IMD, lots of core 20 postcodes, lots of issues with antisocial behaviour, notoriously a difficult community to engage with, ex-mining community. There's also a lack of community space here as well. We have got some organisations such as Family Hub, we've got Bassett Law Food Bank, we've got St Paul's Church Hall, and Rainbow Park as a green space, but again is a target for a lot of antisocial behaviour, which means it's not necessarily accessible to a lot of people in the community. Do you want to add out, Marjana?
No, and I think it's worth noting that, you know, this community has not been really physically active, and the community also has experienced a lot of barriers. And Jess is going to talk about the project that we have developed, which enabled us to build a relationship with the community, and it all started from there.
So we did start collaborating, like I said, probably 2024, I think September 2024. If you just want to press a couple of buttons, you'll see a couple of projects come up. Here we go. So first project that we ran from September 2024 was something called Fresh Street. Now, this was a research project done in conjunction with Nottingham University and Reading University. Similar projects have been run across the country, and this was about accessibility to fresh food, good quality fruit and veg. So they wanted to extend the research to include social interaction and social isolation. So what we did, it's a nudge, behavioural nudge technique. We were door knocking in a community was selected at random, 40 households. We were delivering vouchers to those households every week, and then people would come and redeem their vouchers at a central point called Willow Garden, which is it's like an allotment, but it's a community organisation. They would come and collect from us every week, same day, same time, and they get a free fresh box of fruit and veg. They couldn't choose what was in there. They just got what the greengrocers would allocate us for that week. So that project ran overall for 6 months, allowed us a brilliant opportunity to build a relationship with a community that was really hard to engage with. Unfortunately, funding did put a stop to that eventually, but it gave us the opportunity to run some engagement events similar to the ones that you can see here. So we've got the Easter Fun Day, where we had an Easter bunny hunt out at Willow Garden, and then our biggest success was the Manton family Halloween Bonanza. So this was 4 or 5 organisations basically putting on a day's worth of events free to the community here. So this is a picture from that engagement event. So you can see this is multi-generational. You've got, I think we had over 100 attendees throughout that day. This is just at the Willow Garden. From here, we did walking by stealth, in that we'd put on a scavenger hunt around Manton. People took the scavenger hunt, treasure hunt clues with them, had to tick off or tell write us down where they'd found the things, and then they took their pumpkins to Family Hub, where they did Family Hub carving. We had face painting, really massive success, and I think that brokered the next move, which is when Family Hub came to us and said, please, can we do more engagement with you? We've not had that kind of uptake from people before. Marjana, anything you'd like to add?
I think the beauty of it is that, you know, by the collaborative work, we can save on the resources, and, you know, the partners who work alongside us, they each bring a different kind of skill sets to this, and they also serve different audiences. So they all bring different skill sets to the table, and we can save on resources, but they also serve different communities, different beneficiaries. So that's why we have this range of different audiences that we could serve. Can we take the next slide, please?
So I suppose this is kind of expanded on what Marjan has just said, and that is that while we're collaborating with other organisations, our events are much more successful. We have much more engagement. We are engaging with people that we haven't engaged with before. As Marjana was saying, each organisation tends to work with their audience. They have members who will use them regularly, but they may not be engaging with other services that they may benefit from. And again, planning the events, the resources that it requires to do it, it seems to be mitigated when we collaborate. So can we have next slide, please? This is when Family Hub then approached us and said, please, let's work together again. So in January this year, we held our first collaborative meeting. you can see a list of organisations on the left-hand side of the screen. These were the first organisations to be involved as part of the collaborative discussion. At that first meeting, we agreed a full calendar of engagement events for the year, based around school holiday time. And the reason that we chose these organisations to be the start of our collaborative is because we all had those similar objectives, and that is around health, nutrition, activity, community and resilience. All of the organisations that were involved these are key, really important themes. So can we have the next slide, please? So this was our first event that we ran during February half term, and I'm sure you can all remember the miserable January and February that we had, that it just poured it down the whole time. Luckily, we managed to find a break in the rain, but yeah, so we had a walk, leader-led walk. ABL very kindly did some walk leader training for us as a result of that first collaborative meeting. They did that free of charge for us. So lots of the organisations then had a walk leader trained up. So we held a walk leader-led walk around a local green space in Worksop. We were able to, Family Hub created scavenger hunts for the children to take with them. We then engaged with nature a little bit, where we found poo sticks, and we were doing poo sticks over the river, which was absolutely wonderful. And then we managed to do a stop off at our local library, where we had, actually there was 2 families sign up for library cards there and then while we were in the library, which is absolutely fantastic. Again, engaging with a service that they're not already engaging with, that them as a family are going to benefit from. And then we've got a local heritage building close to us, Aurora Centre, which is actually a cancer specialist support organisation, but it's very, very retro. We've got lots of old wonderful museum artifacts in there. So again, we stopped off with the families and they were given a tour there as well. So these, as of this first event, we've then increased our collaborative by 2 organisations, which was fantastic. Marjana, anything to add?
No, I think the main objective of the walks, or the the physical activity, the engagement event themselves, is just to be able to promote, not only promote, to approach, to let the community approach different organizations that they wouldn't have approached by themselves, and find out about the services that they provide. So that was another objective of the engagement events. Can we have the next slide, please?
So we've been meeting regularly to feedback on events and things like that. This was going to be a much bigger event than that first one was. And if everyone's just got a couple of minutes, are we all right to press play on the video, please?
We have a toddler group and we do like a drop-in group, and we have all age services on Sundays as well. And then during Easter holidays, like it is this week, and like today we've done a messy church. It was all Claire that's planned it and everything, so I've just rocked up and volunteered, but it's been really great to be involved in that way and actually meet people who I will hopefully eventually be around with more. So I work collaboratively with others. I network all the time. As part of my job, I always try and network with people that are in a similar role to me. So I work with other people in the diocese as well. I also do that by just being around with families, but only in the environment that the groups, the sessions that I run are on. Just so that it's that safer conversation and community.
We've really enjoyed the St Paul's Church, the family fun day. All the children have had a little play, and then doing the scavenger hunt as well on the way round. The older one enjoyed finding the pictures on the lamppost. That were good fun. I've been to previous ones in the holidays as well in the summer. Some nice events on. But yeah, it's great. It's great for all ages, and the children all enjoy it.
The main thing that makes this event happen, I think, is the goodwill and the collaboration between a group of partners that are interested in improving outcomes for people living in Manton. It's really important that partners come together to think about how they work together, how they think about aligning strategically, and how they pool resources and money to make events like this happen. What I've noticed is collaboration is really strong. There's a number of organisations that are really keen on coming together to think about how they align and how they pool resources and how they share roles and responsibilities. They've spent a lot of time thinking about shared purpose and a common goal, which is the thing that sort of helps to bring them together. And without collaboration, an event like this wouldn't happen. It's amazing to see all sorts of different organisations coming together just with that shared purpose.
So feedback from the community that we constantly get is that there's not a lot of activities available for families, and lots of organisations that work within this area. To put a large event on for families would be extremely difficult with regards to colleagues and funding. So a couple of partners originally broached the idea of, shall we do a collaborative event? The idea behind the collaborative event was that the actual organising and the staffing of these events takes up a lot of time for organisations. So a shared responsibility of organisation and staffing events would be really beneficial. And then it has the added benefit as well of connecting people with services that they're not necessarily using as individual organisations. We are interacting with one kind of audience, and Family Hub may be interacting with a completely different kind of audience. So it's linking people in with services that they're not currently using. The collaborative organisations promoting physical activity is something that we are all interested in, like a shared goal, and so a shared or collaborative event is the perfect opportunity to be able to do that. And so we've had the organisation of a scavenger hunt, we've had stay and play, we've had an Easter bunny hunt, and we've also got an organised walk down to another sporting event, the darts event. So lots and lots of different ways of encouraging physical activity. And I think
Thank you. And I think it's important here as well that we've managed there in a community where deprivation is a big problem. We've managed to arrange an all-day event, which has fed children from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, and it's all free of cost, and that's down to the collaboration of the organisations working together. Brilliant. Okay, so and then we've come to the latest event that we ran, which is part of the Walk Not's Move More in May initiative, which was our Move More May in Clumber. So what we did here is Active Knots very kindly donated some money for us to fund some transport to take some families who wouldn't necessarily be able to access a beautiful space like Clumber, that green space, due to lack of infrastructure in Basset Law buses, due to cost. We managed to arrange to take over 30 individuals, that being the different organisations. We put families in there. We had people from our St Paul's community pantry come with us as well, people with mobility issues. Again, lots of a multi-generational trip out, and we all visited Clumber for the day, and people hired buggies. They could go off and do whatever they wanted during that time. Basset Law Food Bank very kindly provided lunch boxes. From the Heart Charity very kindly donated drinks and snacks for that day. And National Trust very kindly donated daily passes for us. So again, a free of charge event for everyone, all the beneficiaries there that day. Marjana?
Yeah, I think the advantage of it was that the session there in the Clumber wasn't structured, so people could do whatever they fancied. And I think people absolutely loved it because the families had a time to spend with the kids at the shaded area in the woods. Then also we had a lady who was in the mobility scooter, and she spent 3 hours with her friend from the group walking alongside the buggy for 3 hours, and she said to me she's never walked that far. So the maximum she ever covered was like 10 minutes distance, whereas here she managed to walk, you know, for 3 hours without even realizing it. So this is a great achievement for her, and everyone had a lovely time there. And we just wanted to move on from there, and therefore we planned another 2 events in the summer to Clamber Park. And basically we'll be doing an event each week, and Jess will just talk about this briefly, because I think we exceeded our time slot, which was 15 minutes, because we'll be talking for 17 minutes now, I just realized, which is a bit too long, I think. So another events are awaiting this summer and beyond the summer in October as well. Can we have a nice next slide, please?
Yeah, and this is just highlighting what Marjana has told us, and that is that the collaborative has grown from that initial 6 or 7 organisations. We are now up to 10, 11 organisations, and the other engagement events that we have planned, we've actually now added to this as well. So we've got some more to add in. This was just this was last week's draft of it. So I think our role as BCBS is still kind of a coordinator role, but it's just growing from strength to strength, and it's definitely something that we're going to engage with going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just really, really wonderful to see all of those organisations coming together and supporting so many people, and then getting so much out of it. It's quite special when you're up there and just seeing what people are getting out of all of that support you're giving them. Thank you very much. Sadly, they couldn't join us in person today, but Diane Holmes and Carol Hallam from the ATTFE College in Ashfield have done a short presentation, short video about the work that they were doing during the Walk Knots Festival to support their learners to walk and wheel in a way that worked from them, from a safe space.
Diane Holmes, Head of Curriculum Strategy and Partnerships, ATTFE College.
Carol Hallam, Community Engagement and Learning Lead at ATTFE College. I met Sarah through my school games role, because that's another role that I have that's hosted at the college. So I met her through that, and also through leading a walk in another area before I started here. So, and then obviously through ATTFE for this walk.
I think prior to the Walk Knots Festival, we'd had conversations with Sarah, and we'd chatted about different possibilities in terms of how we can promote walking as a college. And then obviously the Walk Knots Festival came up, and I think it's just an opportunity really for us to have a go and give it a try. So yeah, and wellbeing is part of what we do with our learners. So it was mostly adult learners, volunteers, and then community members. So there were young people and families that took part as well. But although we're a college and it is about delivering curriculum, personal development and supporting wellbeing in communities is a big part of what we do, whether that's as part of the courses or as part of the community work that we're doing. So it just seemed like a good opportunity to give it a try and see how it went.
We started off at Sutton Community Academy at the Attic, which is where we're based, and we did a lead walk with adults and children, and we walked to Sutton Lawn. At Sutton Lawn, they got the opportunity to choose whether they stayed there or they continued on the walk, which we took around Sutton Lawn and around the lake. So some stayed there, and we also had a picnic at that point where we stopped. So people enjoyed a picnic as part of the event as well.
We'd got adult learners, we'd got some of our community ambassador volunteers as well as staff taking part. So it was a mix, and then wider community members also got involved as well. So we did advertise it out wider. So we did get a complete mix, and a mix of ages as well. Really, so it was nice to bring everybody together.
Yeah, the good thing we did, they had to sign up for it, so there was a cut-off date on it, so we knew how many were coming, obviously because we were catering as well, but we knew how many were coming and if there were children, sort of what ages they were, so that was a good thing for us to do.
think some of the people that were on the walk had not actually been to Sutton Lawn, which for me, like they all live locally, but they've not been on Sutton Lawn, which is an amazing green space, outdoor space that they've got. So hopefully, and they were talking about, oh, we could do this more often, couldn't we? And then thinking about other places further afield, like Millwaters, that they could go and have a walk over there. So I think there was that element of it. I think definitely people enjoyed doing something a bit different, because a lot of the people that came on the walk attend our weekly coffee morning sessions, but they all said it was nice to do something a little bit different and get outdoors as well. We're looking at what we do in terms of staff wellbeing, and we're always supporting learner wellbeing as well. So it kind of made us think it is probably something we should do more often, whether that be like a termly walk. So it is something we're potentially going to look at doing more often going forward as a result of the walk. And I think the other bit, which wasn't really expected, is we had a partner from a local charity shop that was opening in Sutton attended as well. They'd seen the walk advertised and thought, oh, we'll pop down and speak to ATTFE and yeah, just say hello and let them know about what we're planning to do. And that's since then created opportunities for more volunteering, linking up with the charity shop. We've got learners who have since signed up as volunteers since the charity shop's opened. So things like that we would never really have even thought would have happened, but it was by seeing that walk and that was happening and coming and saying hello that we were able to do that as well. So yeah, who knows what comes when you do these kind of things.
It was quite a social thing as well, and you know, while we were walking, we were talking and mixing and mingling, and people were talking quite openly about things, and also that, you know, they might meet up and do that walk again or go a bit further next time. So it had that sort of effect as well.
Yeah, and there was a lady on the walk as well that she does, I think she just come to coffee morning, but she'd been thinking about starting a counselling course in September. So I was walking with her and she was able to chat about that, which made her think, yeah, I think I can do it. And yeah, hopefully she's now signed up to a counselling course starting in September as well. So all these little bits just from going on a walk.
Yeah, I think the thing as well is there was a trust in who was leading it, and I think Sarah mentioned that quite a lot, that, you know, they know us, they trusted us to come along to the walk, where they might have not done that if it had just been a walk happening on Sutton Lawn, and them all coming together. So that sort of helped.
I think it's probably just not on their radar to think, I'll go and have a walk to Sutton Lawn, because I know a lot of them, they access the hub that we've got in the Idlewells, which is it's not far at all, is it really, in terms of walking, and it's right near to the town centre. And yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily barriers that they can't, it's just that whole, it's just not something that they would probably think about doing.
Yeah, and also they might walk straight across the road up the top to get to different places, but some of them don't know that the lake's down at the bottom because they can't see it from there and they've not walked down that way. So just opening up that area of the park was something new to a lot of people probably as well. We talked to them, we work with them on a regular basis, and Linda was there as well, our volunteer coordinator who works with them every week. So I think it really helped, and, you know, we made it a nice friendly environment. They weren't put under pressure to walk fast or anything like that, because it's a well-being walk. We're going slowly, we're taking it at pace, and we're waiting for the ones that were, you know, a little bit behind. We kept waiting for them, so they felt comfortable as we went along that they weren't going to get left by themselves, and then they could walk according to their ability, how far they might want to walk. So, you know, we'll stop here, you can stop here, and we'll come back to you, and we'll go off for a walk for those that want to, that go around the lake. So yeah, it was that trust and that not putting pressure on them to do more than, you know, they could do, really.
So we've got our In This Together strategy as a college, so that we launched the first version of that strategy 2 years ago. when we've just a few weeks ago relaunched the second version of that, so that'll run for the next 4 years until 2030. And as part of that, we've got key themes, strategic themes that guide our curriculum intent and also our community work that we do. So as part of that, one of those themes is improving health and wellbeing in communities, and also supporting workplace wellbeing and learning as well. So between those two themes, getting people more active is a big part of that, and getting people moving more. So we do that through enrichment activities that we do with learners, and personal development activities that are done kind of in addition to the course that they might be studying with us, and all the different other community activities and things we're involved in, like the school games for Ashfield area, the work that we're doing on Leamington as well. It's all about bringing all those priorities together and making use of our resources in a way that meets all of those priorities as well, to the best that we can, so that we're having the best impact, really. So yeah, and wellbeing just runs through all of what we do, I think naturally, just because of our approach as a college and how inclusive we are as well. And it is about developing people as people, and developing life skills alongside the skills and the knowledge that they're learning as part of the courses that they're doing. And part of that is wellbeing and kind of looking after yourself and educating people the benefits of moving more, eating more healthily, and looking after your mental health. So it's a big part of what we do.
It was a lovely day. Do you know, it was so lovely just seeing everybody so excited, joining together at the attic, and you know, picking up the picnics that they'd got, and walking to the lawn. And I say, some people just then staying having a picnic. We had other people that were joining us there. Some people then went on. So we had some people that were doing like 3,500 steps that day. Some people who did maybe 1,700 steps, and some people just, you know, 256 steps. Because that was what worked for them. But what a lovely day, what a lovely coming together. And I think Carol just pulled that out. It was, they trusted their leaders, they knew what everyone else was around them, what they looked like. They didn't, you know, they knew that they would belong to that community. And they, yeah, had a really, really lovely time. So let's hope that that will encourage them to do a bit more, either, you know, within ATTFE or on their own, in their own personal lives. Anyone got any questions about anything that we've covered in this last hour? No, well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you to all of our speakers for all the wonderful work that you have done, and the time and effort in preparing for this session today.